Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from, and welcome back to yet another episode of Unprepared to Entrepreneur, the channel that brings you real, raw, and often untold stories of entrepreneurship and sometimes financial planning, which is what we are doing today. I have my pen and my notebook, and we are in class today. We're joined by Alfred Mathu. Please, if you've not watched the previous episode, go and catch up, and then you come back and let's plan our finances in 2025 and beyond. Mr. Mathu, for those who've not met you, please introduce yourself and we can get right into it.
Morning, Anne. How are you today?
I'm nervous, but I'm good. Thanks for asking.
Good day to our listeners. My name is Alfred Mathu. I'm a financial consultant. I run a consulting agency called His Africa Insurance Agency, which is an intermediary of Absa Life and the Old Mutual Life Assurance Company. As His Africa, what we do is that we help people to manage their finances in order to achieve their medium, long-term, as well as the short-term financial goals. We help you to structure your finances, prioritize the expenses that you need to prioritize, and keep reserves for monies that are meant for your future, and so that you can become financially aware. And I'm very, very privileged to be here to talk about financial planning.
Financial planning.
Yeah.
I am nervous because I'm about to expose my procrastination, my basically. But why I'm doing this is because I know for sure there's someone who needs this information, and I sat with you towards the end of last year. In fact, we met at an event.
Yes.
And you know, when I could just hear you talk, and it's almost like you were talking to me and you were shouting at me because I have not done in fact, I've not even tried to plan my finances to make sure that I achieve financial freedom in the next, say, 10, 15 years. I haven't. To be honest, I got caught up in being young. I thought I was going to be young forever. And then now I'm 37, 40 is knocking, and I'm like, oh my God, Anne, you really need to sit and work it out. So we are gonna work it out here. Those who've not watched the other episode, please do, because Alfred took us through an investment that he started when he was 24 years old, 24, 25.
Yeah.
He had just started his employment. And Alfred, I must say, had I started when I started employment,
You'd have been
I'm so sad.
miles ahead. Never worry. There's always a good.
I am so sad.
Yeah.
So if you're in that position, the younger Anne, make a different decision, make a better decision. Because I feel like I had a chance to really achieve quite a bit. I ended up not achieving much. I left employment just before I got to 30, I think at 28, 29 years old. Call it 29 years old. And by that time, I had done 9 years of being employed. Mm-hmm. I had risen the ranks. I had gotten the raises. If I started at my 3,000 then and grew it with those percentages, very sad.
It's very
sad.
Never too late.
But it's not too late. We are here now, right?
Yes.
There's nothing we can do about let bygones be bygones. We are here now. In fact, I remember, you talked about people who eat their pension.
At 45, you are eating your pension with a bigger spoon.
At 31, I ate my pension, Mathu, because I had just left employment. I didn't have enough savings. You remember the emergency fund you spoke about that you're supposed to have that could shield you or cover your
between 3 and
needs
6.
between 3 months and 6 months. Mine was up in like month 2.
I know.
So where I was employed, we used to contribute towards a certain pension fund, and the employer would also do the same. I had to go and get my money.
For survival?
To survive.
Your long-term savings became your emergency fund.
My long...
Those are big mistakes that I talk about.
I know, yeah. But let's be real, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Because I needed to survive today. But then I think the last, call it about 8, 9 years being in entrepreneurship, I think in as much as I had not sort of gotten into a financial freedom sort of plan, at least I've gotten my earnings right in terms of being consistent in the businesses that I'm running and them providing me with an income consistently, because businesses are like this, right?
I know.
And it takes some time for you to sort of adjust to the roller coaster way of running a business, but we are here now. So if I were to start today, what do I have? Now, if you ask me to give you my assets, they are not income generating assets. So I have a piece of land somewhere.
That's a dead asset.
That's a dead asset, right? Unless I sell it or something like that. It's somewhere in the villages. It will take time to appreciate and whatnot. So that's long term, right?
Yeah.
Would you classify it as long term?
Depends on what was your primary objective of buying that land.
Primary objective.
Did you just buy it because it was on sale, or did you buy it because you had an agenda?
But Alfred, we have to have a kamogoda. My parents.
You know, the way we've approached some of these investments is what has actually made us to be where we are today.
Yeah.
Everyone is where they are because of good or bad decisions they made one day. So if you just bought to please a parent who thought buying a kamogoda is important, that also explains why you are in the scenario you are today.
Not necessarily to please. It's just that growing up, there is this value that is placed on owning land.
Would you do the same to your daughter today? Tell them that you must buy land now?
Nobody even told me. It's almost like you're conditioned. You're conditioned that, when you get a lose 2 million somewhere,
yes,
go and buy yourself a piece of land.
I know. Wow.
It's a conditioning. It's not like somebody told me I must do it,
yes,
but it felt like without it, what am I doing?
You're not complete.
Yeah, what am I doing? I need something tangible to say, in the last 37 years, this is what I have achieved. And land has to be part of it.
Can you imagine if that same amount that you spent buying that piece of land was put into a contractual investment where it will be 10 years later? And I want to give you a very simple
Let's talk about it,
hypothetical scenario here. I talked about my investment of 3,000.
Yes.
I want to jump very, very quickly
episode
into the same conversation and assume that Anne had started saving 3,000 shillings about 20 years ago. 20 years ago. If you had started, let's look at where would have been 10 years
ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
Where I'd be now.
And where would be 10 years from now.
And where I'd be 10 years from now.
A 3,000 shillings savings would translate to about 36,000 shillings per year. And because your income is not going to be static, assuming that you just allow yourself just a little more discipline of increasing the contribution every year at 10%. Just 10%. Yes.
So which means year 2, 3,000,
you'll be doing 3,300. So what this would mean is that by the 10th year, you'll be saving every month 7,073 shillings.
Increasing 3,000 every year.
Start off with 3,000, but increase that amount at a rate of 10% every year. So you start off at 3. Next year it will be 3,300. You keep on that trajectory.
10th year is 7,000.
You'll be saving 7,073.
7,073.
Yes. Whereas the first year you would have saved that 6,000, or the 10th year you'll be doing 84,886 per year. And that generally would translate to an accumulated savings of 573,746. Your own savings. 573,746. Looking at what we give in the contractual investment, and given that it's a guaranteed investment, your value will be sitting at 831,931. You have started off at 3,000 monthly. By the 10th year, you'll be doing 7,073. In those 10 years, you would have accumulated an amount of 573,746, and which would have been compounded. You add the bonuses that this would have given. Your fund will be sitting at 801,931, meaning you've already made a gain of 258,000 258,185. And what that means is that if you take the 258,185 as the profit done in 10 years, if you divide that by 10, it means that every year you're making an average of 25,818 as a profit. 25,818.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 3,000 shares that you're doing, you maintain a trajectory of 10% growth every year. By the 10th year, you'd have saved 573,746. And the value of your savings would be 831,931.
931.
If you take 831 minus the 573, you're left with 258,185 as the profit made in the 10 years.
In the 10 years.
And which, if you divide by 10 years, you'd get 25,818 as the profit you are doing every year.
Wow.
25,818. Now, that assumes you started off this journey 10 years ago. And assuming that we are here...
If I started today...
If we're here today, the same journey of 3,000 shillings, which has now brought us to 801,000, 801,931. You continue from now on again to the 20th year. Let's see how those numbers play out.
Yes.
You would actually be doing 84,486 shillings every year now, which is translating to about 7,073. And in the next 10 years, you'll be doing a contribution of 165,418. Which
this is year 20.
Yes. Which will translate to about 181,960. In terms of, sorry, I made a mistake. So continue the journey from you start off now at the space of 84,886, and in the next 10 years, which you now get to the 20th year from the beginning, you'd actually be contributing 200,156. 200,156. And 200,000
that is annually.
Annually, the last year, that's on the 20th year. That would translate to about a premium of 16,679 per month. You remember you started off the journey at 3,000. By the 10th year, you are doing 7,073. Now by the 20th year, you'd be doing 16,679. Overall, you'd have contributed in those 20 years 1,352,859. In the 20-year period, starting off with 3,000, and by the 20th year, you are contributing 16,679 per month. Your total contribution would have been 1,352,859. But you know how much you'd be paid back? Going again by the construction investment plan, 2,638,075 shillings. 2,638,075 shillings. That leaves you with a net gain of 1,285,216. 1,285,216. Now, this conversion assumes we started off at 3,000.
Yes.
Assuming that we started off now at 10 times more, just hypothetical, which now means 30.
Yes.
You don't have to add a zero here. It would mean today you'd be worth 26,380,075. 750.
Yeah.
That is, if you started off at 30,000, 20 years later, you'd be at 26,380,750. Can you imagine? With your own contribution of 13,528,590. And you know what? How many Kenyans can afford 30,000 now? There are many.
There are many.
There are many. And this is taking them to 26 million shillings. But how many Kenyans are retiring with anything above 5 million in Kenya today? Just a small percentage, maybe less than 1%. People are retiring with less than 5 million 20 years later, 30 years later, only because they either never started or they started late. If today you kicked off these investments with only 30,000 shillings per month and allow every year you increase that amount by 10%, in the next 20 years, holding all factors constant, you'll be worth 26,380,750 with your own input of 13,528,590. That leaves you with a profit of 12,852,160.
Yes.
But as I said, there are people who are listening today and they still want to retire purpose. They'll retire with 1 million or 2 million in the next 20 years. And if only they took that first step of saying, from the income that I'm making. And as I said, 25% of the income, just target it between the three
between
aspects,
3 and
the
30.
short, medium, and long term. If you only decided to put in the contractual investment, which is the medium
Is this
term,
medium?
Medium.
This is medium.
No, long term now we'll be basically looking at your own retirement.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is medium.
Yes.
I have something to ask.
Yes.
I remember when I was it 25 years old? I got into something, now that you're talking about it, I feel like it was a contractual investment.
Okay.
I was contributing 11,000 then.
Per month? Wow.
Per month.
Wow. And how many years ago?
That's when I was 24, 25 there, I can't remember which year it was.
So that should be about 10 years ago?
That's the thing. The thing is, after I left employment, I couldn't keep up with it.
Oh, now it became a casualty.
So is this what that is? Because I lost all my money.
Yeah. Now let me tell you what. The industry has changed. Previously, the process was if you started off a contractual investment,
you must complete.
You must be in it at least within the lock-in period. And the lock-in period for some companies would be 3 years, others would be 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So if you contributed into a program whose lock-in period was 3 years, but contributed 2 years and stopped, you'd have lost everything. If you went into a program that had a 5-year lock-in period, contributed for 4 years, and then stopped, you'd have lost.
That's what happened to me.
But now the contractual investment that I'm talking about, and it's become the product that I mainly sell, coming at the Absa Life. Right from day one, you've got a surrender value. In the event your circumstances changed within 1 year, and you're unable to continue making your contribution, you can cash it even within 1 year. We don't have other companies in Kenya that allow you to cash a contractual investment if you've not been in the contribution for at least 3 years. Most of the companies is 3 years.
Okay.
So if you've contributed less than 3 years, you'd lose everything.
Yeah.
And which is understandable. One of the reasons being, when you sign up this particular contract, the company assures your next of kin or your family a payout of the sum assured in case of your death from the first day. You can imagine if you put 10,000, and if anything happens to you within 1 year, that company is going to pay $1 million. You're only paying 10,000.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Eterera.
Yes. Yes.
I think there's something we're losing.
Yes.
We've looked at the contribution, doing a contribution starting with 3,000 and increasing it by 10% every year all the way to the next 20 years.
Yes.
And we've seen what the payout would be.
Yes.
If you multiply that to a factor of 10 and start at 30, then you can see also how that will shift.
Correct.
Now, and I think we'll do a graph and highlight it properly in this, on the screen. So apart from this monetary benefit, what other benefit comes with this contractual investment?
So what a contractual investment does, we want to give you a platform where you can build your savings contractually to achieve an agenda. The agenda could be in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 15 years maybe. But we are also cognizant of the fact that there are many things that could change between now and the realization of that time. One of them could be death. I talked about critical illness. I talked about disability. Now, when it comes to death, you remember the example I gave you of a friend who signed up, then had an accident at Village Market 23 days later.
Yes.
So we paid out the 10 million, which is called the sum assured. That with the 75,399, this guy, we assured the family of a payout of 10 million shillings in case of early death. And that amount would have increased on the second year. But since he died within the first month, we paid off the family 10 million. So it's a big risk the insurance company is taking, hoping that you are going to live through. So in the event of now on your end, you terminate in the first 1 year. Who takes care of the risk that the company was carrying? That's why people lose.
Okay.
Because we assured you, in case anything happens to you, we'll pay off this amount.
Oh, okay. So that's the difference between, let's say I put this money, same amount of money, increasing it by 10% in a money market fund, right? Yes. And then accumulate it, let's say to the 36,000 at the end of the year or the 84,000 at the end of year 10.
Yes.
I accumulate. It's also earning interest in the money market fund.
Yes.
Then I go and buy, let's say, a bill or a bond, whatever it is.
Yes.
So the difference between that kind of investment and this is the...
Now, that's where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
This money market is called non-contractual investment. And the one I'm talking about is called contractual. Now, when it comes to non-contractual
This is
investment,
contractual.
yes,
The example
the money
I gave
market
is
is
non-contractual.
The money market non-contractual investment, in the event of death, the company only pays the invested amount plus profits up to that time, less any deductions in form of tax.
In form of taxes.
So, for example, like that guy that I'm talking about, had he put 75,000 shillings in money market, that time, would have paid the family 75,000 plus profit of 1 month.
Interest for 1 month.
Interest for 1 month,
1,000.
which I doubt would have reached even 80,000. So if you had put the money in the money market, would have paid the family 80,000 shillings.
Oh, that's the difference.
But now this side we paid him 10 million because the contractual comes with added riders in case of death, disability, and critical illness. Get the point?
I see.
So
yes.
somebody in the money market will not lose anything because even the company didn't take any risk. Theirs was just investments, and what you make is net of the fund managers, fees and the taxes.
Because I've seen many people. I've really been trying because I realized I need to bridge my knowledge gap when it comes to financial investment and planning, sort of literacy. And so I realized there's some people who are actually doing a comparison just in terms of gains only. So they look at the compounded interest on the money market fund.
Unrelated products.
Yeah.
It's like
it looks like you're earning more on the other side than you're earning on the...
You want to compare a Range Rover and a Mercedes. They are both good for the particular uses they are meant for. You cannot compare a Range Rover and Mercedes. You can't. You compare Range Rover with another series of Range Rover. Mercedes with another series of Mercedes. But now the trouble with a lot of people is that they compare a Range Rover and Mercedes, or a Mercedes and a Probox. You can't compare that. Now, when it comes to comparing the products, these products have got very different investment objectives. As I said, the money market is a safe parking for your money for short-term duration, money and you are driven by accessibility and security. So if you put money in a money market and then record it, even if you record it after 1 month, there's no penalty. The amount you're going to be given is the amount you invested, plus any profit that has been generated, net of taxes and net of the fund
manager fee.
So at no time will you lose a thing. But then in case of risk, what is paid out is only that amount plus the profit net of the taxes. So, and I've given an example. This friend of mine that paid 1 month and died, had he put the same amount of money in the money market, we could have paid about 80,000. But now that he was in a contractual investment, we paid 10 million.
I hear you.
Because one is giving you added benefits in case of death, disability, critical illness. The other one is purely an investment program. Pure. There's nothing over and above it. It's pure investment.
It's pure investment.
So in fact, one product complements the other. I always tell people, when you take a money market, it's supposed to complement the contractual investment. You need to have the two. So that the contractual one is for your medium, long-term goals. And the money market, or the short-term one, is for your emergencies.
So for example, if I have, let's say, I'm starting off right now, right? And I want to build my emergency fund. My monthly spend, let's give it 200,000 per month. That's my monthly expenditure. So if I'm to build an emergency fund, I would need to multiply this by 6.
Yes.
Which gives me 1.2.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
What's the plan? How do I get to 1.2? Let me tell you what.
The moment we have allocated the 25% from your income, we've now taken away 25%. Let's say, hypothetical. And have 1 million.
Hey, shuka kidogo.
No.
300,000. Wait, let's be realistic.
Okay. 300,000. So let's start there.
I earn 300,000.
Anne is earning.
Hypothetically.
Something difficult. Anne is earning.
Yes.
300,000. Get what I'm coming. Okay. Anne is earning 300,000.
Yes.
Out of the 300,000 shillings,
25%.
Take off 25%. That means what? 75,000.
Yes.
Are you together? 75,000. Multiply the numbers, you see? 25% of 300,000 is 75,000.
Yes.
Now, we have 75,000 shillings, which will take care of our short term, medium, and long term. Remember what I said? The first thing to do, build an emergency fund. And the emergency fund would be 3 to 6 times of your monthly financial requirements.
Okay.
And we said your income is?
My monthly expenses are 200,000.
Says 200,000 shillings.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 times of that is 600.
Multiplied by 6.
And by 6 is 1.2 million.
1.2.
So you need to build an emergency fund of between 600 to 1.2.
Yes.
The best way to deal with the 75,000 shillings is now the next formula, which I'll tell you. The short term will take 30%.
30% of the 70.
Yes. 30% of the 75,000.
Or what you advise is to not go one by one.
No, you see, it's like when you go to a buffet. Mm-hmm. You can't just have the soup. Or you can't just have the meat. You need everything. And from the first day, you should start preparing for your last day. So even the retirement counts on the first day.
That's
in as much as the emergency is important, even the fund for retirement is important. So of the 25% that you're keeping aside, 30% of it should address the emergency.
I thought maybe like address the emergency, then go to the next one. We are learning.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So
from
75,000.
The 30% of the 75% of the 75,000 takes care of the emergency. 50% is where the main work comes in and helps you to build your contractual investments or money for your contractual goals. Money for your contractual goals. So what is 50% of your 75,000?
And the next one, as I
yeah, so
the math.
That's about that 7,500.
75,000 half is
about that 7,500.
37,500.
Good. And now we ask ourselves, how about the future, the old age retirement? 20% of the 75,000.
10%?
20%.
So retirement.
Yeah.
What are some of the products for retirement?
Just let's get that number first.
Okay.
Let's get that number first so that you don't get mixed up.
Yeah.
What is 20% of 75,000?
15.
Good. Now, let me read for you the summary now. Let me read for you that summary. I read for you the summary. We are saying Anne is earning 300,000.
Yes.
Out of 300,000 shillings, we allocate 25% of that amount to go into building her investments in the short term, medium, and long term. And what you're saying, of that amount, we have 75,000. That is 25% of the 300,000. Comes 75,000. 75,000. So of this 75,000 shillings, 22,500 will help us build an emergency kitty. That out of the 75,000, 22,500 is building a money market. 37,500 is helping us build a medium-term contractual investment fund for your medium-term goals. Whether it's educating the children, that's why you hear people taking up education policies. Whether it's for your own contractual investments, you perhaps want to take up a plan for 10 years to help you buy or build a house, all that should be in the 37,500. But then for your retirement, from day one, you start putting aside 15,000. Which is 20% of the 75% of the 75,000 shillings.
Yeah.
You're putting 15,000 shillings.
Yeah.
Now, when you left the first employment, remember, you are forced to take away your long-term kitty, take care of the emergency, because from the day one, you never created the provision for the same, for the emergencies.
Yes.
Had you done it this way, I can tell you for sure, at the point you left your first employment, you would not have touched your long-term savings because you would have had enough in your emergency kitty to address your emergencies.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
So anyone that is earning 300,000 shillings means today they can comfortably afford to put 75,000 shillings aside. The rest of the money they can do the other things.
Yeah.
The needs are the ones. It doesn't mean that you never eat at Java. It doesn't mean you never eat at Alt Cafe. It doesn't mean that you never go out for a weekend trip with your friends, because you still have that provided for. The only thing we have to be deliberate is that we don't do things that are not in our budget.
Yeah.
Am I making sense? Don't do things that are not in your budget.
Not in your budget.
Yes. Anything that you do with your money every month needs to be provided for in the budget. So if it's not in the budget, like for example, on your month on month, if Alfred comes your way and I borrow 50,000, we are good friends. I want to borrow 50,000. Do you know, if I take 50,000 shillings from your current budget, I would upset the budget the next 3 months. I will tell you honestly, do not lend money because that is not your work. Even when you think
you're not
you
in
got
the business of
even when you look a bit too liquid,
lending money.
yes, even when you look a bit too liquid,
Yeah.
that money is meant for your own goals, whether they're short term, medium, or long term. If a friend comes your way and they have a financial need, take them to your bank. Let them borrow from there because you are not an expert in lending. The money that is in your account is not meant for lending because you're not a lender. You see what I mean? Yours is for the various goals. And should you start lending that money, you might not know it today, but in the near future, you realize that you progressively upset your day-to-day bills. Only because you directed money to where it was not meant to be. So from the onset, have that clarity.
You know what else I wanted to ask you? As a business owner and an entrepreneur, my income is not as predictable as it used to be when I was employed. So when I was employed, you know you're earning 300,000 through and through, right? When you're an entrepreneur, some months you will earn 4 million, other months you will earn 200,000. And that's not even those are business sales, for example. So after delivering the service or the product that you're doing, let's say you're left with half of it, right? As the margin or the net profit is about 20% of it. So if you look at 20% of 4 million, which is what remains, then how do I commit to such a plan?
The first thing I'll tell you, Anne, did you know that on average, diligently run businesses give higher potential income than employment? Point number one.
Diligently run businesses
give more than a position in employment. If you are ahead of a unit, employed, you'd actually be making a certain salary, which is guaranteed, yes. But if you transferred your skills to run your own business, but you run it diligently, chances are higher that you're actually going to be earning way more than what you potentially have earned when you're employed. That I have confirmed.
On average, now, cumulatively.
The engineering behind the products that we sell for the contractual purposes have already put this in consideration. That the people that these products are meant to help in building their portfolios also have irregular incomes.
Irregular
and because of that, that's the reason why companies allow flexibility in terms of the premium mode. Depending on your trajectory, you can choose to go into a commitment on a monthly basis. You can choose to go on it quarterly. You can choose to go on it every semi-annually. You can choose to go on it annually. In fact, I've seen most of the business people, they are happier going into contractual investments which are paying on a quarterly basis. That this quarter, my responsibility is to put aside where you'd have committed maybe 100,000 shillings per month, looking for 300,000 shillings every quarter. And then for the remaining months, you're busy doing your own things. But you create provision for that quarterly payment within the quarter. So
it caters to the irregularity.
Yes, the products are not as rigid as they used to be many years back. Years back, we only had two options. You either pay monthly or yearly. Right now, companies are allowing you to even do quarterly payments. They're allowing semi-annual. In fact, there's even an incentive. Like now what I sell at the Absa Life, if you're paying quarterly, semi-annual, or annual, you get some discounts. Assuming that on a monthly basis you're supposed to be paying 50,000.
Semi-annually in advance?
Yes, semi-annual in advance. So if you're paying 50,000 shillings a month, or where a person is paying 50,000 shillings a month, if you decide to go in paying quarterly, you'll be getting a quarter of a 1 month payment, which is a quarter of 50,000, which would be like would be like 12,500. So if you keep paying quarterly within the year, you have been given a discount of 12,500 only because of paying quarterly. If you're paying semi-annually, you'll be getting a discount of 50% of 1 month, which would be 25,000. So within the year, having paid your premiums every semi-annual basis, you will have you have gotten 50,000 shillings discount. If you pay a year in advance, you get a full month discount. So where you're paying 50,000, you get a full 50,000 shillings discount within that year. That's an incentive to prepay. It's a good thing for you. So the long and short of all this is that the products that you have with the contractual investment space, they are for everyone. As long as you are earning, you can actually decide what portion. And even in as much as I've encouraged us to go for a 25% allocation, there are some instances where for example, due to black tax, you might find yourself lower at maybe 10%. You're only able to put aside 10%. Start there.
Start there.
Start there. You don't have to start where you're not. As I said from the beginning, start where your resources can allow you. So if you can afford to start at 15%, you can start at 20%, start there. Don't say that you're not totally going to do it, and because you got all the other conflicting obligations.
Now, I'm looking at a person who's watching this episode and they are 50 years old. They've not started.
Yes.
What do you do?
Only the thing I tell you is that now you've got to be rushing against time. Because if you're going for another retirement of 55, you've got about 60 months left. If you're going for a normal retirement of 60, you've got about 120 months left. So what would happen in this case is that if you are going for a specific target for retirement, you might be forced to put in much more compared to what would have been asked to put in had you started earlier. That would be option number one. Option number two would be just make a compromise. Yes, the ideal amount for retirement would have been 50 million, but because you're starting late, you have now to go for 20 million, which is what you can afford to build in the next 10 years.
In the next 10 years.
But had you started earlier, you actually had up time left for you to build towards the 50 billion sharings. But overall, for me, I say it's never too late. Don't think that because you are 50 that you have not lost it. I would rather you do what you're able to do in the 10 years than not do anything.
I see your point.
Yes.
I see many, because the 60 and above year olds are our parents.
Yes.
So they are asset rich.
Yes, but
in
cash
terms
poor.
of, but cash poor.
Yes.
In terms of they have parcels and parcels of land. What would you advise they do? Because now they are retired, they are asset rich but cash poor. So they've missed out on even the 120 months.
Yeah, the first thing is to learn from them. Let's not repeat the mistakes that our parents did. I always tell people that as you progress in your career or in your professional life, you should know at what point to stop to reduce pushing your money into the emergency. As I said, the moment you attain the 6 month threshold, start now reducing exposure to emergencies, start building now more into the construction investments. As you progress on that path, know that the factors are not remaining constant. Your health is changing, your energy level is changing, your level of experience changing, obligations changing. There's so much happening.
Yes.
At what point then should you start reducing on exposure to solid assets? Yes, most of the cases when you are 45, thereabout. Now, can you start thinking of how to balance the equation so that you're not going to be ultimately, again, an asset-rich person and cash poor. Start reducing on the exposure to solid assets and start building more into liquid options. Now, for the people that are already in this kind of a quagmire and they are looking for a way out, I think for me, it will be important to first of all admit that that scenario is not sustainable, where you have so much of your assets packed in solid nature and you have no liquidity. Because you realize that as you get older, insurance companies are not even willing to give you medical insurance. You have to pay for your medical obligations in cash. And that's why you need to have
you need more
You also
cash.
come into a point where you're not going to be working. For most of the people who stop the formal employment. So the fact that you're not going to be on a regular income
Monthly
means
obligations.
you should have an alternative. So can you start putting some of these assets on sale? In some cases, you might even sell them at a price you bought them. You might not even get any profit, but you are way better selling them now than later. Because you need to start now building your liquidity. And this liquidity can be directed in instruments where you can access the money easily. Maybe something like a fixed deposit. Maybe something like, in fact, somebody overdoing in the money market at old age is okay. Because you need access to your funds.
I see.
Okay? Than somebody who is young.
So it would make sense to liquidate the asset,
yes,
then put that money in a fixed deposit or in a money market
yes.
fund.
Even for succession purposes,
yeah,
it's easier to do succession on instruments that are liquid than solid ones. Mm-hmm. Because solid ones, there will always be debate around ownership. Like mm-hmm. the person has died, and then the ownership of the piece of land is contested. Other people will talk about the value. My father gave me a piece of land in Lunda. The other brother was given a piece of land in Syokimau. They are not valued the same. In as much as they could be the same size, the one in Lunda will be more expensive compared to the one in Syokimau. So to avoid children fighting, times it's better to sell off and then have a liquid fund where you can say, upon my demise, 10% of this fund will go to my daughter, 10% to my son, 10% to my blah, 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 and the remaining portion of 50% to my wife. That will not be contested. It's easy, straightforward. The guy has died, he had 100 million. He said 10% go to the firstborn. 10% is 10 million.
Yeah.
He said 10% to the secondborn. 10% is 10 million. So there will never be a fight.
Yeah.
You also
it's
need
easy to do equitable distribution.
True. And of course, at the same phase, you also look at what could easily encroach on those investments. For example, your health. You know, a lot of people at old age, they start now neglecting medical insurance. Remember I told you the story of that mother of a friend of mine,
Yes.
who in 2022 got, diagnosed with 3 terminal illnesses and ended up in ICU for 91 days. In those 91 days, the bill shot to 35 million. Now, when you are 60 years and the bill is 37 million shillings, how do you deal with such?
It's a lot of
It's a
money.
monster.
It's a lot of money.
So you've been forced to sell off your car. Your children have sold off their cars. You even end up selling off your house. Because of that one thing.
Yeah.
Because the fundraising is not enough to help you raise that kind of amount. It's too much.
Yeah.
You see, so I think it is important that you may not have enough, but can you make effort? Even if it's that medical cover of 5 million, even if it's that one of 20 million, please just have it. It's going to reduce the pain in case anything happens. But a lot of people in old age, they realize that medical insurance, they don't even pay.
Yeah.
You see, so that becomes a bigger risk.
So it's important at that point to sort of do something, whether it's selling those assets to attain some level of liquidity, and also look at the risks and cover yourselves.
Of course, selling them, you the owner selling them, is much easier than your next of kin selling.
That's true.
It's a much shorter process. So start selling them off. You can even put all of them on sale. Put all of them. Whatever that gets a buyer, push that money into a more liquid option.
Question. There are others who are retiring or have just retired and they're expecting to receive their pension. For example's sake, let's say this mzee is expecting to receive 5 million, from their pension. What would you advise they do with it at that point?
Actually, Kenyans don't know how to do their pension.
Yeah.
That's the reason why most of them retire, and that pension amount, when it comes their way, they buy a matatu. Some go into starting businesses. You're starting a restaurant or you're starting a hotel only because you had 5 million shillings starting at the start point.
And you need something
the other people who want to buy that and build it. There are other people who would go into spending. I think it would be important, even before you get to the retirement age, you have a conversation with a financial advisor so that they can guide you on where you should direct your pension money once it's paid out. Don't wait to get the money first. Get the knowledge first.
Get the knowledge first.
Because I don't know where Kenyan brains go when the money is in the account. People lose their brains when the money is in the account. People are so cooperative until the day the money hits the bank.
The money hits the bank.
When the money hits the bank, the brains disappear. They don't think again.
Joto, in our Pachia Joto.
You will start thinking now when the money is all gone.
Yes.
So can you think through the process before you even get the money? You will need some of it. Your advisor will tell you the things that matter most. Ensure that you've got a good medical cover.
Yes.
Even. Because if you got sick as a retired person and you're not on cover, these 5 million shillings that you've been paid can easily go into paying your bills.
Easily. You can easily lose your pension.
Yes, you can lose all that money.
Yeah.
Okay? The other thing that I've also seen with retirees, either because you never put your money in appropriate investment structures at the right time, now these 5 million shillings that you've been given, a lot of them have ended up in pyramid schemes. They are now trying to use unethical ways of building their wealth. It's all that you have, and some characters come your way and they're telling you got 5 million shillings, we can help you double it, you're okay. And they give you all manner of illegitimate options which will take away all that money unknowingly. By the time you know, you've lost everything. Other people now are going to buying land, hoping to build. And that's the time you're going to be sold land that is fake. Documents that are fake documents. Because people know. At that time, you're not even thinking properly.
Yeah, you're in a rush.
You see, you're in a rush.
You're in a panic mode.
Can you do the things that matter? sit with an advisor. Tell them, by the way, I'm expecting a payout of my pension in the next 3 months, and I'm expecting an estimated, say, 10 million or 5 million or whatever amount of money. Give me advice on how I can, land with that money, given that I'm now 61 and I don't want to start disturbing my children.
Yeah.
So that person will actually tell you the things to do, where to tick, which box to tick, and when and how.
Yes, and
what
how.
What level of medical coverage do I need? Okay? If I'm doing if there's a business that I was doing, now that I'm old, what measures do I need to put in place to ensure that I'm not exposed? Maybe you've never taken insurance for the business. Now that you are retired and it's the only option that you have, you might have to take insurance for this business. You see?
Yeah.
So I think of course, also look at a good lifestyle. What you're going to be eating, because you need to live healthy.
Yes.
Ensure that maybe part of this money might even help you to enroll in a gym. So that you can keep yourself physically fit. It's not just having the money in the account that makes you live longer.
That's true.
You also need to be physically fit. So a financial advisor will actually be able to point some of the areas where you need to be putting your attention.
Yeah.
And so that you can have a fulfilling retirement.
Okay.
It's not just having the money now and trying to do a business tomorrow, because that's what a lot of people are doing. And they end up failing so miserably.
I feel very sad because especially the older generation, our mothers and our fathers, they're getting to retirement and panicking. And we can see our uncles, unasikia uncle fulani, ule neighbor wetu kulienda, sijui alipatiana pesa wapi, sijui kulienda aje. It's so sad to watch.
It's so sad.
And you can see that they were not badly off. Like they could have managed their money a bit better. And they didn't know where to go. And wenye walienda waliwaonyesha towards pyramid scheme, and then that those pyramid scheme stories sound very nice.
True.
When you're sitting with someone who's desperate to multiply this money as fast as possible.
That's true. So there are avenues. I mean, when you have that limited amount, 5 million shillings is very, very little money, to be very honest. In as much as it's the average amount that most of the Kenyans are getting for retirement, it's very little. And that's why we always try to recommend other interventions, such as individual pension, to enhance what you're likely to get from your employer. So that if your employer pays 5 million, and you've already made provision for another 5 million, now you've got a 10 million.
Yes.
If you now have 10 million shillings, we'll come and help you put that money in avenues that make sense. Some of it might end up in a space like money market. Some of it might get into a space like fixed deposit.
Yeah.
Some of it, you might even buy a few bonds. You see what I mean?
See.
So that you have got now
a portfolio.
Your
risk is spread.
Yes, and you've got several streams of income, which will actually keep you going.
So you say you've talked about sort of financial advisor. Do you offer those services?
That's what we do.
That's what you guys do?
Yes.
So like, for example, me and you can have a sit down and look into the future and say, at 60, this is the kind of life I want. This is what I want. And we can sort of like work backwards. And go like, this is what you need to do.
Good. Then
and I can get to work.
To help you prioritize the things that matter.
I see.
In the realization of the long-term goal that you don't go there blindly.
Yeah.
Because
where can I find you?
People being us at rich means that they'd never spent the money. They actually directed it into investments. The unfortunate
but
thing
the money is not working.
They directed into investments that are not working for them.
They are not working for
them. If only that person had some guidance of some sort, they would have known what kind of an equation to adopt to be able to balance the equation.
I see.
But now the fact that you went into it so blindly, so you realize at old age that, hey, hold on, I have got so much, but it's all stuck in land. I told you of this case of like Amze in Kitare with a parcel of 100 acres. Worth about 70 million. And this Mzee had prostate cancer. Now getting cash, and the children are not earning much. Getting cash was impossible. So what this guy has done is now borrowed money. You see that one title? Borrowed money from a pharmacist who I know. Gave him 3.5 million shillings to be taken to India for treatment. And they had one arrangement or one agreement. In the first 90 days, I'm not going to charge you any interest. But after the 90th day, my 3.5 million shillings will start attracting interest at a rate of 10% per month.
Per month?
Per month. That's a Shylock rate. But you see...
That's worse than a Shylock.
Looking at it, the fact that the first 90 days you feel you're not going to be charged anything extra, the guy felt safe.
Oh, no.
But now you see going to India, in the first about 2 months, you're not being treated.
Nothing
in India, they
happening.
Don't rush into treating you.
They are testing.
They do the tests.
Yeah.
By the time they're embarking on treating you, It's on the 70th day. Days are running out. You got 90 days that you're not going to be charged anything. I don't know how that story has gone since, but I can tell you that's a nasty story.
Yeah.
Chances of losing that land
are
more than 100%.
Yeah,
you lose that land.
It's already looking bad.
When the money starts now multiplying at a rate of 10%, my friend, that's crazy amount. Crazy amount. You talk about 350,000 per month.
That's crazy.
Ridiculous, but because you signed it and you give your title, and I'm sure this guy is wise enough to even make you sign the transfers. That's how people lose. So I think it is important that every person consults with an expert, industry expert.
Industry expert.
If it's about financial matters, have a financial advisor who will be able to appropriately guide you. Don't make those blunders. If you're buying an asset or you're selling off, go through an expert. That's why lawyers are there to guide you. If it's about your medical fitness, have conversations with your doctor.
Industry experts.
Yes.
Yeah.
But do you realize that Kenyan men normally go to see doctors when they are on their deathbed?
Is that the same for financial advisors as well?
A lot of men go to see doctors when you're not even able to talk. It's your spouse or your next of kin who's explaining where the pain is or what you said last. That last week when he last talked, he said ABCD.
He said ABCD. Is that what they do with their finances as well?
Even finances, that's the same thing.
Men, you need to do better.
That men come to see us, and I'm saying generally, men come to see us when they are already in debt.
And the situation is very
when they are
dire.
being auctioned, when the retirement letter has already appeared. It's so late. You had a chance to do these things.
Yeah.
You had a chance to do these things. Every stage of your life, you need to know what, like what I do. When I sit with you, I'll show you my portfolio. Every May of the year, I must take up a new plan. It doesn't matter how small. I must take a new plan.
Yeah.
May is the month I was born. So every May, I give myself
you invest in
a
yourself.
target and a challenge.
Yeah.
I want to come up with a circuit where, when they start maturing, I'll be getting maturity every year. To do it, I take a plan every year in May. Now I'm on the 6th.
That's interesting.
I'm on the 6th plan.
So May like a contractual
investment. May is coming this year. I'm taking up another. It doesn't matter whether it's going to be 15,000, 20, 30, 40. It doesn't matter. But I'll do something. I'm better off with that 10,000 shillings savings than with nothing. So that's what I've told myself.
That's smart.
I just do my audit, my personal audit. Where was my income last year, same time? Where is it this year? What has there been any change? Then I would always look at how much more can I take up in terms of personal investment?
Yeah.
So that is the path I'm on.
You'll show me. I want to see that.
I'll show you that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow, this is such an amazing conversation, and I think this is the reason I do what I do, because I began by saying that I am creating content for my younger self, right? The things I wish I knew, the things I wish I did. I am bringing those conversations, and I'm bringing you industry experts who can guide you in terms of what you need to do, where you need to start to be able to start now, like Alfred is saying. If you've enjoyed this video, please share it with your mother, your mother's chama, your father as well, and your brothers. Let's get the word out. And if you would like to have a sitting with Alfred, he is available for a one-on-one consultation. It will be absolutely free. If you can call him for your chamas, he'll make time and he will just come and guide you, because the things I have learned since I met this man have truly changed my life, and those around me as well, because now I keep sharing about the lessons that we've picked up on, and this video is up on YouTube, and therefore it will get to even thousands and thousands others. So thank you so much, Alfred. You'll give me a link?
I will.
Yeah, I will leave the link below. If you want to be able to reach out to Alfred, just click on the link in the description box. You'll be able to leave your contacts there, and Alfred and his team will definitely give you a call back. Comment in the comment section. Let us know what interested you the most about the video. Also, maybe this is a good time to open a Q&A session. I will invite Alfred back to answer some of your questions. So if you're kind of like stuck in a situation and you don't know how to move forward and you would like us to address that, leave the comment in the comment section. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Alfred. You've spent the entire morning with us and you've given us a wealth of knowledge. We truly appreciate. I don't know if you have some last words to my audience?
Yeah, thank you very much, Anne. It was an amazing session that we've had. People have to keep learning, but it's not just learning, also executing what we are learning. As we said, available to give people free financial talks, also able to work with you individually, one-on-one, to look at your current situation, make remedy where we need to, and be able to structure your finances to meet your agenda. We always say that no one wakes up to fail. People only fail to plan. I'm available even on a call at 0722-310-584. You can easily reach me, drop me a text message, or drop me a WhatsApp message, and I'll be able to revert appropriately. I'm looking forward to the next session where we're going to be handling the questions.
The questions,
which
right?
your listeners might, might be having at
Me
this
too. I don't know
stage.
if the questions are gonna come from the 20-year-olds or the 30-year-olds or the 60-year-olds, but I'm looking forward to it. So leave your questions in the comment section. I will invite him back and we will address the questions. And if you have a pressing issue, pressing, you want to act now, his contact is on the link below. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you, Alfred.
Bye-bye.